No one saw it coming, not the audience in the studio, not the millions watching from their living rooms, and certainly not Steve Harvey himself. What began as just another lively and humorous episode of The Steve Harvey Show turned into a raw, unforgettable moment that would shake social media and spark a global conversation. Midway through a segment about leadership, faith, and Black excellence, the camera zoomed in on Steve's face. His usual grin faded. His eyes, wide at first, suddenly welled with tears. His shoulders trembled. In a voice barely above a whisper, he muttered, "Oh my God, I didn't know this was coming." Moments later, Steve Harvey broke down and cried on live television after receiving an unexpected, deeply emotional message from none other than Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the young and fearless leader of Burkina Faso. This wasn't some scripted stunt. This wasn't a ratings gimmick. This was real. It began with a simple topic: mentorship. Steve was speaking passionately about how crucial it is for successful men to reach back and pull others forward. "I'm here because somebody believed in me when I didn't believe in myself," Steve said, eyes glowing with the kind of conviction that only comes from lived experience. The audience clapped. You could hear the amens echoing from the back rows. Steve continued, "That's why I do what I do. For the next young brother watching, thinking he ain't got a shot." Then the host of the show interrupted gently. "Steve," she said, smiling with a knowing look, "you've inspired many, more than you'll ever know. We have something for you. A message sent all the way from West Africa." Steve raised his eyebrows. "West Africa?" he chuckled. "Lord, what y'all about to do to me?" The screen behind them lit up. The studio darkened. And then came the image, a composed, steady figure in uniform, standing in front of the flag of Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traoré himself. Calm, confident, yet deeply respectful, Traoré spoke directly into the camera. "Brother Steve Harvey," he began in smooth, deliberate English, "I speak to you not as a president, not as a military man, but as a son of Africa who has been deeply moved by your journey." The audience hushed. You could hear a pin drop. "In the streets of Ouagadougou," Traoré continued, "your words have reached far. You may not know this, but clips of your speeches, your motivation, your humor laced with wisdom, they are played in youth centers, military academies, and even in our village schools. You speak not just to America, you speak to the world." Steve sat back in his chair. His hand was already reaching for a tissue, but he held it together, for now. Traoré's message went deeper. "There were times," he said, "when I doubted whether I was strong enough to take on the burdens of my nation. Times when the fight against corruption, exploitation, and foreign domination felt too great. But then I would listen to one of your speeches. You said God didn't bring you this far to leave you. That stayed with me. That became a part of my spirit." The camera slowly panned to Steve. He looked stunned, emotional, humbled. His lips trembled. His chest rose and fell rapidly as he tried to breathe through it. "Brother," Traoré said, "you have no idea what it means for a young African man to see a successful Black man stand tall, speak truth, love God, love family, and never forget his roots. You didn't just entertain us, you empowered us." And that was the breaking point. Steve Harvey broke down. He buried his face in his hands, overcome with emotion. He didn't cry quietly, he sobbed. He tried to speak, but the words wouldn't come out. The audience rose in applause, but even they were teary-eyed. When he finally looked up, eyes red, voice shaking, Steve said, "You don't know what this means to me, man. All I ever wanted was to be a voice for those who don't get heard, to lift people. And to hear that from a leader like you, that's a blessing beyond anything I could have imagined." It was a full circle moment for Steve Harvey, who had often spoken of his humble beginnings, growing up poor in Cleveland, sleeping in his car, failing over and over again before finally finding his way. His story wasn't just a success story, it was a survival story. And now, that survival had created a ripple that reached across oceans into the heart of Africa, inspiring a man fighting a different kind of war, the war for his people's dignity. What made this moment so powerful wasn't just that Traoré acknowledged Steve, it was the symbolism. Two Black men, separated by continents, yet connected by a shared commitment to truth, leadership, and empowerment. one with a mic, the other with a military command. Both warriors, one of words, one of action. After the broadcast, social media exploded. Hashtags like Steve Harvey cries, Traore tribute, and Africa salutes Steve trended for days. Fans across the world from Atlanta to Accra posted videos, memes, and personal stories about how both men had impacted their lives. It became more than just a viral moment. It became a movement of recognition, a bridge between African American identity and African pride. In the days that followed, Steve Harvey released a statement on his personal social media. "I never thought my words would travel so far. To hear that my journey gave strength to someone like President Traore, man, that's the real reward. That's the purpose. I'm honored, humbled, and more motivated than ever." He later added during his Motivated podcast, "It's not about TV. It's not about money. It's about impact. If I can help one man rise up and fight for his people, then I've done my job." The impact didn't stop there. Inspired by the moment, Steve pledged to travel to Burkina Faso within the year, to meet Ibrahim Traoré in person and collaborate on youth mentorship programs that cross cultural and national boundaries. According to inside sources, plans are in the works for a joint initiative, leadership development for underprivileged African and African American youth, connecting schools in the U.S. with institutions in Burkina Faso. Meanwhile, Traoré, in a follow-up statement from Ouagadougou, said, "The world needs bridges more than borders." Mr. Harvey reminded us that the Black struggle is one, but so is Black excellence. We look forward to building a new future together. For many, this moment marked a shift, a reminder that Black men across the globe are not isolated, but part of a shared legacy, a shared battle, and a shared destiny. The image of Steve Harvey weeping in raw gratitude touched something deeply human. It stripped away the fame and success and reminded the world that even the most influential figures need affirmation too. But perhaps what made the moment timeless was its honesty. In a world where so much is staged, where vulnerability is often buried beneath bravado, Steve Harvey let the world see him. Not the comedian, not the host, not the businessman, but the man, the one who still remembers what it's like to be broken, to be uncertain, to question whether your efforts matter. And Traore, by reaching out not as a politician, but as a fellow brother, gave the world something rare, a reminder that words do matter, that influence ripples beyond borders, and that respect, real respect, can change the atmosphere of a room. As Steve said in a later interview, still visibly moved, "I've made folks laugh for 30 years, but today I cried, and I ain't ashamed, because sometimes when God shows you the fruit of your labor, all you can do is cry."